and Hardy on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Let's go.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. We are Toucher and Hardy, Town Fair Tire Studios, 617-779-0985. You can watch us on YouTube. Subscribe to 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube. As always, a gigantic show on the way today. A big, big show.
Yep.
Yeah. I was in Detroit over the weekend. I took my daughter to see Bruno Mars at Ford Field.
Now, let me ask you something first of all, and it's just now dawned on me. Your daughter is very much into the new music, the boogies with hoodies, and the people and the artists that most people don't know about. Bruno Mars seems rather pedestrian for her. Is there a new wave of Bruno Mars fans that I don't know about?
I mean, she likes Olivia Rodrigo. She likes Travis Scott and Drake. She likes SZA. I mean, she's not a like punk rock lady or something like that. I mean, she likes mainstream music.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of anything Bruno Mars. Does he have popular new music? Does he?
Is there a new album out?
Yeah, seriously. I mean, like you say Bruno Mars, and I think stuff from like 10 years ago.
Well, he sold out 2 nights at Ford Field.
I understand, but Elton John could sell out 2 nights at Ford Field.
Yeah, but Elton John's 80. I mean, Bruno Mars is what, 30, late 30s, early 40s.
What I'm saying is, there's something new that he's doing he has
a new album called The Romantic.
Well, there it is. That's all you had to say.
I wasn't really know what you were going for. I mean,
how has he captured the imagination of the younger audience?
Well, you're supposed to wear pajamas to the concert. You're supposed to wear silk pajamas to the concert, or you're supposed to wear, which are ideally red or white clothes. That's what you're supposed to wear or white or black clothes. That is what you're supposed to wear to Bruno Mars.
As an attendee or as the performer?
As the attendee.
And were many people doing that?
Oh, yes. Thousands. My daughter included. She did not wear pajamas, but she wore whatever the hell you're supposed to wear.
You should have just shown up like in a flannel robe.
I wore a house coat. You can't see it in the pictures, but I put it on. I wore a house coat to the whole affair. But she wanted to see Bruno Mars. I'll tell you, arena shows are just not great. Arena shows, not arena, of stadium shows. Stadium shows are just not good. It's too big an audience. It's too big a stage, and there's not enough to fill it up. It's not good. I'd never seen a stadium show that I haven't worked. I've never paid to see a band at a stadium. Even the bands that I really like, when I was growing up, I don't recall them playing stadiums. And, I've had to work like Metallica shows at stadiums and stuff, but I barely paid attention while they were playing. I was, meandering around backstage or in the parking lot or something. I had to be doing something while they were on. And it's just not good. But one thing so it was like 3 sections. One was like the new album. Mm-hmm. The second one was apparently he did something with another guy.
Silk Sonic, right?
Oh, John. Yeah, Silk Sonic.
Smoking Out the Window is the big song from that.
Yeah, that was the only song anyone knew. So when he first came on, he did 20 songs, 22 songs or something. He played for over 2 hours, which is a lot. A lot. But so he gets on and the crowd's like going ballistic. And then there's like a slight pause. They don't stop, but there's like a pause where the keyboard player like does a song with the band. And then he comes back out with this other guy who it was the DJ. The best, because now I understand why the guy was there, because the first guy that came out, the very first opener was DJ Pee Wee.
Yeah, he's good.
And it was a guy with a wig on, and he just played, obvious hits and like clapped his hands and stuff. I'm like, what an odd opener.
Did he have a whistle? I like it sometimes when they blow an old school disco whistle.
No, but he went bomb bomb like on the DJ kit, and then
like a Bahamian radio station.
No, like Jersey Shore, wah, wah.
Yeah,
like that Jersey Shore thing, wah, wah. So he did that, and I'm like, this is odd because he's like, here's one for you people from the 70s. Here's one for you people from the 80s. Here's one for you people in the 90s.
Nice.
And then he was just playing like, 3/4 of the song. And I went, wow, that's weird that this guy gets to tour and do stadiums. And the crowd loved it. The second guy that came out was from the show Victorious, which I'm sure you both remember, the Disney Channel show set at a music school. And he played like all the instruments and had a band and no one cared. DJ people loved. He played whatever hit from the 70s or whatever hit from the 80s. But then I understood why he did that, because it was just the guy from Silk Sonic with a wig on. So Bruno Mars comes out in almost like a Temptations type situation with like 5 guys, him and this other guy, and the other guy sings and he sing, and the other guys sing backup, and they have syncopated dance moves and stuff, which plays well to an arena crowd. Because we had good seats, but everything's so small that it's just like dwarfed. You're just looking at these TV screens. Now, he had cool lights and pyro and stuff. He did his best. And then that stops. And then the last 5 songs were like hits, but you could tell that was the part of the show he didn't really like, because he did like "I'm Gonna Marry You," which is I recognize like 3 songs. One is like the "I'm Gonna Marry You," and then Uptown Funk he ended with, and you could tell those were the ones he really didn't like. Then curtains drop, it comes back out, and it's just him with a guitar playing one song, and half the crowd left during that. So I felt kind of bad for Bruno Mars. But again, it's like, I've heard even Springsteen fans say this, that 2.5 hours, by the hour and 45-minute mark, you're ready to tap out. Now imagine if you don't know any but 2 of the songs. That's a tough one. Because if it was even in an arena, because I saw Olivia Rodrigo, who, she works, you could, if you're a good enough performer, you can work an arena.
Yeah.
Tyler, the Creator, worked the arena. He had a stage in the middle of the crowd. He did stuff on it. It was all, he had this big show in an arena. Arena shows aren't the best, but you can do it. You can perform in front of 17,000 people. If half the audience can see everything without the advantage of a TV screen, literally half the audience can see that without the advantage of a TV screen. In a stadium, really you have to be in the front row because it was like seated GM, or I guess it wasn't general admission, but the floor was seated, and it was probably seated 200 rows deep. And
so there was a stage at one end and nothing in the middle.
No, nothing. Just one stage.
Oh God!
And so if you were outside the first 10 rows, if you had someone tall in front of you, you're not seeing anything. It wasn't general admission, so it wasn't like a crowd. There were chairs. So we were on the side, let's say 3 sections from the stage, about 10 rows up. And it was hard to, he's 5'5", and I know I keep bringing up people's height, and it's probably not even what it is. It's just literally kind of hard to see him. There was part of the show he stood on a car, and that was easier to see him because he was elevated. Mm-hmm. But the stage was, for the most part, flat. So it was just weird.
I'm surprised they do that. It seems like other artists have figured it out over the years. Metallica, I've seen them a couple of times, once at the Garden, once at Gillette, and when they do it in the round, you've got a chance to see different angles, and they change positions on the stage, and they have, different setups for everybody. So it's a different look, and you get the ability to have something visual from every angle.
Yeah, in the round is a great point. Also, if you're Metallica or like the Rolling Stones or a band, or Elton John, as you mentioned, someone like that, you can do, because a stadium, you got to play 20 songs. You got to do like 20, 22 songs. You just have to. But you've got 22 hits, but for Metallica, 22 album cuts. Everyone at a Metallica show, 99% of them know at least 5 albums inside and out, right?
Yeah, right.
Like from probably not Injustice for All, Ride the Lightning through the Black Album. Like everyone knows every song.
Well, Load and Reload. Let's not.
Yeah, but if they play Load and Reload, I don't know if there's a venue big enough. Right? Those are the Load era Metallica would be its own tour, and it would just be like, we're playing
Load
countries.
and Reload could be its own tour. Saint Anger could be its own tour.
Absolutely. Load and Reload, I would venture is worse even than Saint Anger.
Load turns like 30 this year, so they're doing a big, like, we remastered it, and here's all the demos, and here's all the extra stuff, and like buy it on vinyl for $200. It's just like, come on, man.
Well, there's like a big joke with like bands about forming Load era Metallica cover bands.
Yeah, sure.
Like Uptown Girl and Step Brothers, where it was just 80s. It was just 80s Billy Joel. You couldn't play anything outside of the 80s. And Uptown Girl. So, this is Load era Metallica. Like, we just play stuff from Load and Reload. But unless you have a catalog like that, it's very difficult. And now I got to go back and see A$AP Rocky in July, and I don't know anything about A$AP Rocky except that he goes to, Fashion Week. That's all I know about him.
Oh, yeah.
He's like very into fashion.
Was he at the Met Gala?
He was.
Hell
he's kind of transcended music and become this fashion icon, like Italian fashion icon. Like he has deals with Prada and Louis Vuitton or whatever. Like he is a big time fashion guy. That's all I know about him. But
16 song set for A$AP Rocky. I'm looking at it.
Yeah, so I imagine he doesn't do a lot. He's probably got like 5 openers. And I don't know one song by A$AP Rocky. But there you go. I'll tell you, Hardy, you got to go to Detroit. It was a beautiful Saturday afternoon, and it was like a real city.
Yeah,
there were people all over the place. There was a Gucci store downtown. It's all happening.
The one thing I tell people about it when they're like, well, there's 2 things. The contrast of when we were growing up there, and my sister driving back from a concert. I think they had gone to see Prince, her and her friends downtown, and they had stopped somewhere along, driving back north to the suburbs, getting above like 18 Mile where we lived, and they were still in the city limits, and they had stopped at a stoplight downtown, and a cop got behind him, pulled him over, and he said, "What are you girls doing?" And he said, "We're driving back to Troy." He said, "No, what are you doing stopped at this light? Don't stop at any more lights. If stop just long enough to make sure there's no traffic and keep going. It's not safe." So that's what it was like back then. Mm-hmm. Contrast that with what Fred told me years ago, and it had been a few years since I had been back. And Fred said, "Yep, walk around downtown Detroit now at night, and you will see young women out jogging by themselves."
Yeah, white women jogging by themselves in Detroit at night. We were on Woodward. We stayed in Shinola Hotel, and it was on Woodward, and there was like street noise from morning through night of people out spending money and living in the city and going to restaurants,
like an actual city.
In Detroit, Detroit is like, downtown Detroit is, similar to downtown Philadelphia or downtown Chicago or downtown. Now, it's not a Goliath city like New York or Chicago. It ends at a certain point. But downtown Detroit is like legit, big, like a huge buildings and like it's massive. Now, it was all abandoned for the most part. When Hardy and I were growing up, they're like legitimately abandoned. I told you, two of my friends, their dad took over a skyscraper, like what would you call it, or a high rise? Let's say that, like 16-story, 20-story building. Just he agreed to pay the taxes on it. He didn't even have to buy the building. He just told the city he'd to pay the taxes on it. And this was late 90s, and they like refurbished it and turned it into a place for people to live, like a residential place. And I got to imagine now that I don't know how much buildings like that, how much does a 16-story tower cost? Like, I don't know. So if they
didn't know you could buy those,
if they kept it, you're talking about like Trump stuff. They own some massive 16, 20-story building downtown. Like, it's crazy. So everything's filled now. And it's every time I go back, even if it's a year, I'm like, Jesus Christ. People are living down there. Lots. Thousands. It's thousands of people. Crowded streets, like legit crowded streets. Bumping into people on the street. It's very odd. But one thing that was going on is that there would be people wearing ski masks during the day. They just had ski masks on, and I don't know what they were up to. They would be wearing all black with a ski mask.
That's not great.
No,
and it was during the day, and my daughter and I saw one guy wearing a ski mask approach like a teenage kid and started talking to him.
Oh.
But then he pulled down the ski mask. That was the only thing that I saw that I was like, oh, that's odd. But they like rent those scooters and bikes, and there's families riding around on bicycles. It's not going to matter to anyone else, but it's just so strange.
Well, maybe it's the pollen.
That's why you wear the ski mask.
Yeah.
I got it.
It's like COVID just gave everyone some excuse to not show their faces. That's kind of like the vibe I was getting. But it's not. I know this doesn't matter to anyone else, but it's you just got to. Okay, so I would imagine it's similar to that. What did they call it by the Garden? What did they call that area?
War Station.
No. But what was the nickname for it?
I mean, it's the West End. Is the part of the city.
No. There was a nickname for it where the combat zone.
Oh, the combat zone.
Jesus, you two.
That wasn't next to the Garden.
Where was the combat zone?
Combat zone's over by the Theater District, over by the Wang Center.
Oh, yeah, that's really far from the Garden. My bad.
Well, it's not next to the Garden.
Okay.
You got to go over Beacon Hill to get there.
But wasn't the Garden all crappy too?
Yes, it was.
So I would imagine it's or like the Seaport now.
South Boston was completely different.
Right.
Than what it is
so
now.
I would assume it's a lot like that. It's like if you go to if you had not been to Boston in 20 years and you go to the Seaport and you're like, what the hell is this?
It doesn't look like.
But at least
you're in Boston.
But at least they built new buildings. Like in Detroit, this stuff was just abandoned.
Yeah.
Everyone knows. You watch the Anthony Bourdain thing from 20 years ago when he goes to Detroit. It's all ruin porn. Like, all of it is just like, look at how broken down and crappy the city is. And now you can't afford to live down there. I have friends who can't afford to live in the city.
Did you have to do anything Mother's Day related yesterday?
Yeah, I had to fly back. Our flight was delayed an hour because it was funny. The flight was delayed an hour. The gate agent was very good, and she's like, they forgot to book a co-pilot. And they were like, and then but she said they found a guy. Apparently, if you forget a co-pilot, you can send a message out to all the pilots. And a guy that was flying in from Denver was like, I'll do it.
Oh, boy.
So, and they were like in the air at the time. So, like, well, I guess while he was in the air, he's like, I'll do this flight. It was like an Uber. He was like, yeah, I'll take the next ride.
I'm here.
Ding.
Right.
I'll accept.
And so
I like that.
when we got on the plane, it was all very well done. I am a big fan of Delta. And when we got on the plane, the pilot was like, look, I'm really sorry that we're running late, because there was a bunch of people with like international connections, but I guess they were all going to make them. And he was like, if you get a survey from Delta and you want to complain about something, complain right back to them, because it was their fault. It was the main company's fault that this is happening. And I went. It was all explained, because our plane was at the gate, like, so it was a little confusing, and they all explained what was going on right away. They explained where the guy was. I was able to get on my phone and see where the flight from Denver was.
That's all we want, sitting at the gate.
Well,
Just
you feel
tell us
like
what the hell's happening.
You feel like you have like a little bit of control.
As long as they don't ask for like volunteers among the passengers. Does anyone with any flight experience want to ride shotgun on this son bitch?
Right. Well, you do have that thought of like, well, why don't you only need one pilot? You have that thought, and then you go, well, maybe that's not a good thought.
Yeah, Lucky Lindy went all the way across the pond.
Right. Like, how much do you really, the co-pilot doesn't do anything. I mean, how much do you really need the co-pilot? So, but yeah, then I had to fly in, and then I went with my kids with their mother to brunch, and then I gave the kids back to her, and I went about my day.
There you go.
Went about my day, because I had to take them to the old club. That doesn't go against your minimum either.
Oh no.
That sucks.
They do well on those brunches, don't they? In terms of the take for the house.
I do enjoy a brunch. Just very quickly, I do enjoy a buffet brunch. I do. They're very well done there. Manny, go ahead.
Hey, how you doing? I think same thing with Pittsburgh. It's been revitalized the last 10 years. But I got a question. I think, is it the GM buildings, the 3 glass buildings?
Yeah, the Renaissance Center. What they're called? Yeah, GM moved in there.
Yeah, so I think I was watching something. They're knocking down the 2 side ones and keeping the middle ones to build 2 new ones next to it or something like that. Is that what's going on over there?
Well, GM moved. GM's not in the Renaissance Center, so they built or refurbished, whichever. No, they built. I believe they built a new. GM has moved into like a super high, like a 50-story building or something like that.
Yeah,
they built
they want that land to build it up with something else like nice. You know what I'm saying? I think they want that land where those 3 buildings are.
Yeah,
the Renaissance builders.
Yeah, it's just trippy. Like, we went to the Detroit Institute of Arts, and that like whole Wayne State University by the public library and stuff is all nice now. It's crazy. It's really nuts. But it's good. I suggest you go. You could go to Detroit for the weekend and not get bored. And if it's a nice, like you go when it's nice, it's like a real city. And it's bigger than Boston, which is crazy, too. It's like way bigger downtown.
Sprawling.
No, but just the enormity of it. Like in Boston, there's row houses and stuff like that. It's more charming in Boston. But in downtown Detroit, there's none of that. It's just all massive buildings for 3 miles. It's crazy. But the riverfront.
Well, we'll find out about that Patriots game here. What, this week, John?
Thursday.
Yeah. Could be an international game, though, still.
Could be. I prefer to think of it as a Thanksgiving Day game.
But we know it is Patriots at Lions. We just don't know if it's going to be in Detroit or if it's going to be in Pago.
Yes. Well, Australia's out, so they can't play there. But, yeah, could be anywhere.
All right.
That'd be a good trip. That'd be a good road trip game.
All right. Well, look, we will be back in just a moment. We'll catch you up with everything that happened last. What happened last night's brought to you by Leonard Hair Transplant Associates, where your hair doesn't have to be a game of what happens. So change your lettuce and change your life with Dr. Matthew Lopresti at 1-800-GET-HAIR. Hardy, what's going on?
So Saturday you weren't in town, Fred, but the Red Sox were scheduled to play the Rays, and there was rain in the forecast. It was just a matter of how much and exactly when, but you knew it was going to rain. All day and the days leading up to it, we knew it was going to rain. It's raining on Saturday. You're going to start Saturday afternoon at the latest, and then it's just rain. Red Sox, knowing this, did the right thing, and they postponed that game about 10 minutes before the first pitch.
Made sure everyone spent all that money on parking and spent all that money on concessions. The weather forecast, if you had just tapped any app, saw that it was going to pour for about 5 hours, and the Red Sox made sure everyone was huddled underneath any overhang they could find before they called it.
Yep. So
good for you.
So they had to call that game, and then they ended up playing yesterday.
Swinging a high fly ball, deep left field. That's way, way back there and gone. Caminero with number 11. And that was a curveball that he crushed. And 1-0, Tampa Bay.
There's Caminero there from the Tampa Bay Rays getting the home run off Peyton Tolle, who got the start for the Red Sox yesterday. They would add to their lead with a little help from the Red Sox.
Rounded towards short, runner moving up and misplayed by Story. That's going to cost a run. Here comes the throw home. He's going to dive in safely. And all the way down to second goes Simpson on a routine ground ball.
Well, at least he didn't throw it away.
What do you mean?
The guy didn't wind up on second. That's only a one-base error.
He's not allowed to misplay a ball? What do you mean? Wait a minute. It happens, John.
He is something else. That guy is something else. He is your shortstop. He's making way too much money for you to move off him. No one's going to want to trade for him.
It's a hard position.
Yeah, it is. You're right.
Yeah, generally valued defensively.
Yeah. Yeah, shortstop, usually your best athlete is at shortstop.
Well,
or at least your
fielder,
best fielder is at shortstop.
Center field and shortstop, you can get away with having a little less bat.
Yeah.
Because of the importance of the defense of it defensively, but not so much with the Red Sox.
At least you have a second baseman playing out of position next to him. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, a kid that you know, for years was the can't miss kid that was going to be your shortstop. The whole value of him. When I saw him in Providence and I was in the press box, a bunch of guys that covered that team were saying the Red Sox have to put Meyer at shortstop because it's the only way that they're going to be able to. Because that's such his natural position, and that's where he's got to be, and they're going to wait around until they can put him at shortstop.
Trevor Story, and I would argue his best fielding season was when he was at second base. So I would be all for flipping him. I'd be all for. You can't get any worse. So put Meyer at shortstop and put Story at second. You worried about hurting Story's feelings? If Story he's hitting exactly 200 at the moment, and we're in the second week of May, I don't think it's going to damage his psyche any more than it's already damaged. This is as bad a start as I can remember for him. So put Story at second, put the kid at shortstop. Your team is lousy. Let's at least try and get better.
And wouldn't you want to just let the kid play his natural position and just see how he does? You're not very good.
Have him stop thinking, okay, I'm out of position. I have to play third. He's played second. Just put him at shortstop. I don't know about his range. I don't know about extra metrics. It can't be any worse than the guy who's there now.
Well, from what they were saying in Providence is he's really good at shortstop.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you get him in there and see if he's the shortstop of the future. You got nothing to lose.
No.
But they're only 2 games out of the wild card. Yeah, but everyone's 2 games out of the wild card. The whole league. Like, I know that it's like the American League is really bad. Or I should say it's incredibly top heavy because at the top it's really good. But I know you're only 2 games out, but the whole league is 2 games out. You don't understand what I'm saying? So it's not like you have to leapfrog 2 teams. It's like you have to leapfrog the entire league.
Yeah, you're going to be battling against everyone.
Right. Everyone is bad. And I would argue that a lot of those, or some of those teams, a little bit more of an upside at this point than you do. So I don't know why you just wouldn't put him at shortstop. And like John said, Story's played second.
He's been good at it.
Yeah, so, I mean, he doesn't have the world's greatest arm. I don't play him at second. I mean, they obviously have a reason that they're doing it, and they're probably listening and going, you jackasses don't get it. That might be the case.
I don't know. The eye test tells me I very much do get it.
But it just seems like just put Meyer at shortstop, stick him there for the year, and see how he does. And if he's your shortstop of the future, he's your shortstop for the future. If he's not, he's not.
Story would make up for that error, though, earlier in the game with the Sox trailing 4-0.
Line drive and a base hit into right field. Story hitting third, going to wave him in. Here's the throw by DeLuca, not in time. Gasper's looked really good at the plate today.
Beat that throw home.
He scored from second on a single. Boy, that never happens.
Yeah.
He's making stuff happen.
Yeah. He was cooking.
Good for him.
Sox would lose 4-1. So there you go. There's your Boston Red Sox update.
Good for them.
Next up, Philadelphia.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, stay home to play the Phillies tomorrow.
They're sticking with the opener. It's going to be Bayo after an opener tomorrow night. So good for them for sticking for what works. It worked for him the last time. Maybe this is a thing. Now, you'll be down a man in the bullpen every time you pitch him, but anything to get a good performance out of him.
Yeah, and they'll probably make openers illegal. So
let me ask you boys as we shift here the notion that the team that beats your team in the playoffs, would you, on the whole, rather see them go all the way and win the whole thing to prove that you got beat by the best, or do you wish ill upon them and want to see them bounced after they eliminate your team from the postseason?
If you want to know what I would think if I was the team that lost to them,
I would want them to go on and win.
If I'm the team that lost and I was management or the coach, I would like to say, see,
yes,
they dominate
makes you
everyone.
Look better for having lost to them.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer. Of course,
Yes.
You want them to look better. As a fan, I don't know why you care, but as if I worked for the organization, the answer is obvious.
Yes, I think the organization one is obvious. I think as a fan, you probably would still lean that way. Well, at least we got beat by a really good team, and look at the showing they put up, say, against the Knicks.
Inbound stolen by McBride, and then Brunson buries a far corner three. 5 points for Brunson in about 3 seconds.
And that was en route to a 30-point win for the Knicks to complete the sweep of the Philadelphia 76ers, who apparently were treating their opening round series against the Celtics as their finals. It's like, hey, we're going to win this one, and afterward, so what?
The Knicks hit 57% from three.
Yeah, the Knicks had 81 points at half, and then they scored 41 points in the third quarter. They went crazy. Yesterday, I don't put on Philadelphia. The Knicks would have beaten anyone yesterday.
Yes.
They made 10 of their first 11 threes. They had one of those shooting nights where they would have beaten anybody, the Oklahoma City, San Antonio, and it would have blown them out too.
Well, it helps that they had the crowd on their side. They're in Philadelphia. By some reports, about 70% Knicks fans.
Yeah, it's crazy. I didn't realize, and now I'm hearing it, on the radio. Philadelphia is a bad basketball town. I didn't realize that. I just assumed that they're all psycho fans like they are about everything else. But apparently of the four major sports, the 76ers, least amount of juice in town.
My understanding is the fans kind of left after the process. The ownership wanted them to wait, and they waited and waited and waited, and you know what? Nothing happened. Nothing happened at all. And so they're kind of all there are psycho fans there like there are anywhere else, but in general, fans are still pissed after that.
If I'm not mistaken, there was a year like in probably your lifetime, John, because it might go back 70 years, where Philadelphia didn't have a team. There was like a year where they didn't have a basketball team. And then, if I'm not mistaken, I very well could be, and I could have misheard it, but I heard someone going on about the history of basketball in Philadelphia and how it's been terrible. Not the performances of the teams, just the interest in it locally.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that there was a year in there, maybe it was the 60s or the 70s, where they didn't have a team. 1 year.
I don't remember that.
Well, yeah, I don't.
I'm looking for it as
either.
we're talking, and I don't see it.
Okay, I could be completely wrong, and I could have misheard it, but or maybe the person talking was wrong. I'll put it on them. I was just, I'm not a big history buff with the NBA. Out of all the sports, the history of it seems the weakest.
But yeah,
since no one cared about it until 1982. It was a sport no one cared about until 80.
They got a late start.
Yeah, it's like Boston won all those championships. Yeah, they were up against no one. They were up against two people in the crowd.
5 other teams.
They were up against the Lakers every year. A lot of Hall of Famers on the Lakers.
Yeah, a lot of
Jerry
interest.
West, Elgin Baylor.
Yeah,
They had to go through
the Minnesota Lakers.
not Minneapolis.
No,
Thank
whatever.
you. And no, it was L.A. by the mid-'60s.
And you couldn't watch the games live on TV if you were in Arkansas or Alabama or something. They were on tape delay. All right, we'll be back in just a moment to finish up what happened last night. Here are the headlines. Kaboom! Did we all just take acid? Take acid? It's unbelievable.
Like you, Fred. I'm not worried. Another NBA playoff series to talk about from last night, and a big moment in the game. San Antonio Spurs best player. A little bit of trouble in this one. Let's hear the NBC broadcast as they're watching the replay of Victor Wembanyama.
There you go. There's the back. The punk's out. There's that. Oh, that's a problem for the Spurs.
Yeah, that's going to be a flagrant one. That's going to be upgraded.
There is a possibility that's a 2.
Oh, man.
He elbowed someone in the face.
Not only did he elbow someone in the face, he looked back to make sure he was there before he swung the elbow and hit him in the jaw.
I actually saw that live.
So did I.
And I was like, okay, well, he's gone.
Yeah, no, there's no way he remains on the floor after this.
And what's interesting is when he had never done anything like that before, apparently. So, like, when he was on the bench, when they were reviewing it, and by the way, I love the reviews. Keep them coming.
That was about 7 minutes.
We were in the hotel room because it took my daughter 2 hours to get ready for the Bruno Mars concert for whatever reason, and I watched like 3/4 of the Pistons game 3, and I'll tell you, oh my God, if it wasn't boring enough, sometimes you really got to jam in a bunch of replays.
Yeah.
But anyways, they went to him, they showed him on the bench, and he was asking someone else on the team what happened, and the guy was telling him, he goes, "So what now?" And then he was like, "What happened?"
He said, I was watching it live also, and he said, "What does that mean?"
What does that mean? Right. So he goes like, "What does that mean?" And they're like, "You're gone." And
it wasn't any anger either. It's like, "Oh, okay, you got me. All right."
And I don't know if you have like the coaches and stuff. If you do, stop me now. But if you don't, okay, I guess you don't. So what like. San Antonio is sort of like the coach said, admitted that what Wembanyama did was not right, but then he was like, but he gets beaten up a lot during games, and it's like, yes, he does.
Yeah, you didn't see. I mean, look, there are a lot of really good players that absorb a lot of physical contact that doesn't get called. You don't see swinging elbows from these guys.
And he was like, I like that he defended himself, and I would agree, but just not in a playoff game. Like I would have done. You do that in the regular season. You kind of send a message like, you're not going to screw with me. I'm gonna get you. It's kind of like the anti-Garnett, that you actually follow through with the physical contact. But if it's a good thing Minnesota won that game. Wembanyama gets kicked out early, and you don't win that game.
They almost didn't.
No, I know they didn't. Yeah,
San Antonio was up like 8 in the fourth quarter. Like, how are they doing this? And then finally, Minnesota started making some shots.
Anthony Edwards is not healthy. That's much is for sure. He's lacking a lot of jump, and he's lacking some quickness right now. But he's still very good. It would be interesting if Minnesota won this. They get swept by Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City's going to 5 games at most, no matter who they play. I don't care if they play San Antonio. I don't care if Wembanyama's on the floor. They can counter that. They're gonna.
San Antonio had some luck with OKC during the regular season. At least there's some hope that one might be a series.
But John, I think that you've seen in this series that it means. Playoff experience means something, and this is not San Antonio's year.
But I mean, the Lakers have LeBron James. And OKC's throttling back. They're kind of idling until it matters in any game they play, and then they kind of flip a switch, and it's over against the Lakers. San Antonio has some talent they have some good defensive players where it might make a difference. I'm not saying they'll beat Oklahoma City, but they might give them a run.
If you're 2-2 against Minnesota, I don't know how good a run you give Oklahoma City, especially when Oklahoma City's going to have been sitting home.
Yeah.
For a few days before they have to play you. I wouldn't be concerned about that series. Wembanyama's great, mean, the idea that he hits threes the way that he does, I mean, he's a phenomenal player, obviously. And San Antonio might get us back to the glory days of San Antonio winning championships, which was so interesting while it was happening. So, I mean, if any city captivates the nation, it is San Antonio.
The other thing is playoff experience matters not only for teams, but for coaches as well. You were talking about the San Antonio head coach. I think his name is Mitch Johnson. Did not answer that Wembanyama question well at all.
No.
So he needs to learn. I'm sure Popovich called him, took him aside, and said, this is how you do things.
Right.
Don't answer questions like that. You may believe that, but you don't go tell the world that after the game's over.
So the Lakers and Thunder will play their game 4 tonight. Fire up the Prime Video for that 10:30 tip.
Can we watch the Pistons without going online?
We can't. NBC Peacock tonight. Pistons
Peacock
Cavaliers
tonight. So the answer is no.
No, NBC Peacock, so it will be on NBC.
I think
Okay.
it will be. Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
they're for as of now, they are putting it on NBC as well as Peacock. I guess setting us up for the Peacock.
Pistons up 2-1, and of course the Thunder are going to most likely complete their sweep of the Lakers.
Well,
tonight.
the Pistons. I'll tell you, Cleveland had every chance to put them away for easily in Game 3, and they couldn't do it. And the Pistons were playing like crap, and the Pistons played like absolute dog crap in the first half, and then came back. I think they were down 17 at the half, and they came back and completely erased the lead. Cleveland, the Pistons aren't great. They're better than Cleveland.
Cleveland had the best record in the East last year. Remember that? They had a really good season.
I know.
And they were crappy in the playoffs, and now here they are, the 4th seed, about to get run out by Detroit.
Yeah, I'd be a little surprised if Detroit loses tonight, but I'm not gambling on it.
Out of all the disappointments yesterday, whether it was the Sixers or the Red Sox losing, sports fans everywhere were just hanging on one person, athlete in particular, and it was a letdown.
Back at 18. Bogey at the finishing hole, the toughest hole of the day. But it's 65, and he threw everything he could at Quail Hollow today.
Rickie Fowler making a run. It was like glory days. Little guy out there in his orange jumpsuit.
The Rickster.
Yeah.
Rapping with the Rickster.
But, you say, how do you bogey 18? 17 and 18 were playing they were the 2 hardest holes.
We
on the
heard
golf
Nance
course.
say you're repeating jerk off.
Well, he didn't say anything about 17.
How do we?
It's the Green Mile, 17 and 18. Fred, that's incredibly difficult. They call it the Green Mile.
Why? Why do they? Because both holes are long?
Because they allow a black guy to play. All right, we'll be back.
We're not going
to. Joking. I was kidding. I was doing Chip. I was doing Chip. You can't go to break.
Hey, by the way, thanks a lot, Beaton. Did you see what that little prick threw in Slack for everybody about the site?
Aronimic, yes, I did
about the
see
site
that.
of the PGA Championship.
I did see that,
That's
yeah.
not necessary.
Yeah, if you want to know, not only is Augusta National a place where they hold racist things, the PGA Championship is going to be at a course that they were asked to integrate, and they said they would, and then it took them 30 years to actually do it. And we're talking about like modern times.
It was more than 30 years ago,
right?
And
before the civil rights
PGA
movement.
said, "All right, you have these clubs have to be fully open to everybody," and they said, "We've got a 7-year waiting list.
Sorry, we can't break
we
that.
We can't do it.
No." And it took them. That cost them 33 years.
Well, took them a while to admit. I don't know. Maybe it was Catholics. I can't remember. Who it was that they.
It was blacks, but I'll tell you. I could see, like, if you had an all-women's club, like, you're like, I don't want to have guys, and it changes the dynamic. It just, like, adds something. Or vice versa. It's the thing that I don't understand is, like, why it would be a pain in the ass to let black people in. It just seems so easy to do. Just like, sure, here. We'll make some money here. Affluent black people, you can join. But no. 7-year waiting list. All right, we'll be back.
So the list, it's written down.
No, I understand, but
it's before computers. You couldn't just go in there and delete.
Yeah,
it.
but there
It
were a
was
lot
printed.
of there were a lot of
typed.
there were a lot of 7-year blocks between when it opened and when that was demanded. Like maybe 100. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.